Welcome to the show. I'm Danny Kanell in for Jason Whitlock, and I'm going to tell you why there's an even better quarterback in this year's draft than Sam Darnold and Josh Rosen.
Oh, boy. I'm Colin Cowherd, and I'll tell you why Jon Gruden to the Raiders could be a disaster waiting to happen. Probably is. Speak for yourself. On a Thursday starts right now. I'm going to have to go after Baker Mayfield and be a jerk again.
You better bring it. You're going to have stink on your side over there. Hello and welcome to the show. We're joined today by Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson and Super Bowl champ Mark Schlereth. Man, I feel underqualified for this show. But let's start right here in L.A., where USC's Sam Darnold and UCLA's Josh Rosen both declared for the NFL draft yesterday, joining Baker Mayfield in a star-studded QB class. Now, Colin, you've been banging the drum for Darnold since he burst on the scene last year.
Yeah.
But I'm a big Baker Mayfield guy, and there's no question the Heisman winner's resume is better than anyone in the draft. Do you really think Darnold is clearly a better prospect than Mayfield?
Yeah, first thing I've always started with quarterbacks is body type. I don't want any Heisman, any resume. Big, tall, strong, athletic. Darnold, check, 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 check. He's Big Ben minus about 2.5 inches. Listen, Cleveland's gone after small guy. Cody Kessler, Colt McCoy, Johnny Manziel, and the thin RG3. They all failed. This is a cold, brutal, windy city. They play Baltimore, Pittsburgh. If you go look at the Northern Division of football, you ever notice Cutler, Stafford, Rodgers? All have strong arms. Flacco, Big Ben. Who's the weakest arm in the division? Either Cleveland or Andy Dalton. They've struggled. Darnold he has a Midwestern feel. His body type is perfect for a lousy weather, October, November, December. Baker Mayfield's playing in that spread. Oklahoma's got good weather. They don't play defense. He's 5'11". I don't even think it's close.
I didn't know people vacationed in Oklahoma because the weather is so great. I didn't know that. Now, Colin, you're doing what I can't stand because you're falling in love with everything that they fall in line through the draft process, and you're completely forgetting about everything we've seen on film in real games. You'd be that guy that's salivating when all they're up there in their underwear and their guys are weighing in and, ooh, that guy looks great. Look at the body fat. Oh, let's look at all these things. Throw in the tape and watch Baker Mayfield, who has completed more than 71% of his passes this season, 41 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He can make every single throw that's asked of him out there. Not to mention, he's one of the best leaders at the position we've seen in some years. When you look at the way his players respond to him, I love the chip on his shoulder, the fact that he gets the guys to rally around him, and he can make every single throw where passing is more important than it ever has been. Accuracy. He's one of the most accurate college football quarterbacks we've ever seen in the history of the game. You're going to make the same mistake the teams made last year when they fell in love with Mitch Trubisky, they fell in love with Patrick Mahomes, and they passed over Deshaun Watson, who had laid down the best film of anybody against the best defense in the country in Alabama.
By the way, Baker Mayfield played 2 close games. He lost both. When Darnold lost, his team was overwhelmed. Bama last year, Notre Dame this year, Ohio State. Every close game he won. This kid has been in tight games. I think Oklahoma's got better players around him. This is not an underwear contest. I mean, there have been times when you're like, woo, wow,
You know why he lost those close games? Because his defense was a sieve at Oklahoma. That's why Baker Mayfield lost in those close games.
Feels like excuses to me.
Well, I mean, I think, when you look at the Big 12, all the defenses are pretty much sieves. My biggest concern for Mayfield is the system. It's all the spread stuff. I watched the Rose Bowl. And, again, this is very limited for me because that's all I've really watched. I've watched some highlights. I've watched a quarter here or there, but I watched the Rose Bowl intently. And all that zone read, RPO stuff that some of it is trickled in the NFL for sure, and there's a lot of spread concept in the NFL, but those are the things that concern me. When in that first half you're hitting wide open targets that don't have a guy within 4 yards of them, I'm like, I think everybody could complete a pretty high percentage there. When they went to man under with a single high safety, I mean, in the second half, his second half was bad. That film was bad. Now, it's one game, so it's a very small sample set. Here's what concerns me about all college quarterbacks. So I don't like any of them. And I don't like them until they get in the NFL and prove that they can play in the NFL. But my biggest issue when you play at a school like USC or you play at a school like Oklahoma is that if you play 12 games, 9 times you're going to go out there and out-athlete your opponent.
Yeah.
our athletes are better than your athletes, and we're just gonna pile drive you. And so I think it's really hard to look at that and go, oh yeah, he's going to translate really well, because in the NFL, you're not out athleting anybody. I mean, everybody's got supremely gifted guys. Then it becomes the mental aspect and how well you adjust to NFL systems, how well you adjust to NFL coaching, and can you elevate all those players. Love Mayfield from a swagger standpoint, love him from just a competitive standpoint, really concerned about the offense that he runs, because I don't think it translates well to the NFL, because I've seen too many of those guys that don't translate
Hasn't the last
well.
17 years. Sam Bradford's the only Big 12 guy, and he's a really good player. Sam Bradford's the only Big 12 quarterback that worked. Like, he's it. And they all had.
But other than Carson Palmer, there's not been a lot of USC guys.
But there's been a lot of
either.
Pac-12 guys that have worked.
Well, they said the same thing about Jared Goff, because he never went under center. That was what they coming to the pros. And then the first year, well, see, he had never been under center and stuff. When I look at Baker Mayfield, and like I said, I don't watch a lot of college football, but I'm an Oklahoma fan, because I kind of wanted to go to OU, but wasn't allowed to go there. I like you said, he's accurate. I don't care how you look at it. Accuracy is big. I always say my best example, Aaron Rodgers. He is the most accurate quarterback I've ever seen. Baker Mayfield's not a big guy. Drew Brees is not a big guy. Russell Wilson's not you love Russell Wilson.
Love him.
Russell Wilson kind of guy. He's a winner. He knows how to win. Look, you're not going to win all the games. That's just the facts. But I like his enthusiasm. If he went to Cleveland, I think he'd do a good job. But first of all, you've got to put a team around the guy. You can't send, I don't care how great you are, you put Tom Brady in Cleveland, he's going to struggle. I mean, you have to have a team around a quarterback.
I tried to simplify this for everybody. Just forget all the film and make a little graphic. Try to give strengths and weaknesses, some categories where each quarterback stacks up, who has the edge in both ones. I think you'll like this. Decision-making on the field, no doubt, Baker Mayfield. Arm, size, clearly Darnold has the strength. Mobility, accuracy, and it factor, I give to Mayfield. And the category that you love, Colin, is choir boy. Darnold wins that one all day, but that's not what you're looking for in a franchise quarterback. You need a guy with that moxie. That guy can go out there and make plays.
I'm going to dispute. Let's go to Oakland, which is what Jon Gruden may be doing, with a Monday Night Football broadcaster admitting, quote, there's a good chance he's going to take the Raider job if they offered it to him, which seems pretty inevitable at this point. All right, Kanell. Danny, you think this Gruden-Raiders reunion is going to succeed?
I do. I didn't love the terms when you're hearing about some of them, and I know the ownership didn't come to fruition, but I think when we see the type of money that's going to be thrown at Jon Gruden, it's going to be absurd. But I don't think Jon Gruden is coming back for the money. I think he's coming back because of the situation that he's getting. And he's getting a team that just a season ago was 12-4, was right there. He's got Derek Carr, who was MVP caliber a year ago. Now, they had a rough season this year. It kind of fell apart a little bit. It started when Derek Carr got hurt at the end of that season, that playoff run. But Jon Gruden doesn't come back unless he knows he's got a chance to win. And I think he'll be able to step into that locker room. And because of the TV stuff, some of the stuff that made him more attractive and the reason he came up in every single rumor whenever there was a coaching opportunity available, will gain him respect in that locker room. And that means a lot. Those players are going to look at him and they're going to say, oh, this guy's a winner. We've seen him. He's got the Super Bowl ring, but he also has some cachet across the NFL. And I think that matters. Guys are going to buy into what he's selling. I think the most important thing he has to do is he probably has to get rid of Marshawn Lynch. And if you have a sit down with Marshawn and he's not willing to buy into everything you're doing, you get him out of the locker room. I think you undermine Derek Carr's leadership skills in that locker room. You've got some talent on the defensive side of the ball, young talent like Khalil Mack. You've got an incredible wide receiver in Amari Cooper. He will win in Oakland.
Yeah, I don't see it. I think 9 years. Baseball today, there's analytics, but it mostly looks like baseball 50 years ago. Football 10 years ago and today are different sports. There's no more fullbacks. There's no more huddles. The tight end has become incredibly crucial. If you look at the way you draft, how players project, what you're getting from college to the pros, quarterbacks, the league's different. Listen, man, Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, who's who you now compete against, these guys are like tech wizards. They're like Zuckerberg. They're like the young hotshot from Harvard, and now they're running companies in Silicon Valley. That's who you're competing against. He's an older guy. He's a TV personality. He's in the sport that's changed the most. And frankly, this is not a rich franchise. The Raiders they have the poorest owner. this feels almost to me like a marketing move as much as a coaching move, and those never work out. It feels like they need to sell tickets. He's a kind of a cool fit. People will talk about the brand. I think Jay Gruden today is a better coach than Jon Gruden.
Here's the interesting thing for me. I understand how the league operates. I also know this. Tackling people, blocking people, those things never go in and out of style. If you can do that, if you can control a line of scrimmage, you can win in football today, yesterday, and in the future. I know that for a fact. The other thing that's interesting about Jon Gruden, it's not like he went away for 9 years and just did TV. This dude is up every morning at 3:30. I can call him at 3:30 in the morning. Yeah, yo, Stink, what's up? What are you doing? That's him. He walks in or rolls into his office, the Fired Football Coaches of America office. He's got 3 different bays in there. He's got, literally everything an NFL team has as far as film and everything else. And this guy has stayed up with the game like nobody else has. He's been a coach in the booth, doing the quarterback camps, all the stuff that he does. So he's kept up with the changing aspect and the changing philosophies of the National Football League. It really comes down to this with the Oakland Raiders. It's a cultural move. Every person that comes in there has tried to change the culture. The one guy that did it until they became unenamored with him was Jon Gruden. And he had great success with Oakland when he coached there. Then they traded him away to Tampa. And you know what? The rest is history. They went on this 15-year just debacle. But that's a guy, to me, that can coach, and it's not going to go in and out of style. I think it's a good move for the Raiders.
I agree. I think when you think of Jon Gruden, I think of the Raiders. When you think of Tampa Bay, people say that Gruden went in there and won a Super Bowl with Dungy's team. And I think he's tired of hearing that. I think he wants to, look, I put a team together. This is my team, and I want to say I won a Super Bowl. He has a quarterback, and he's no better guy with a quarterback. He has Derek Carr. If people talk about Sean McVay, where did he come from? They picked up Jon Gruden. He's a Jon Gruden prodigy. He's a Jon Gruden prodigy. Look what Sean McVay is doing. And you're right. He's a guy that's in the office late at night. Matter of fact, Sean McVay, coach, one of the players that came to the Rams, left the Rams, he said, Sean McVay sent me a text at 8 o'clock. I didn't get back to him at like 10 o'clock at night. That's 12 o'clock. That's 3 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast. He said, I called him, I texted him and said, it's too late, I want to call your name. He called me back and said, I'm up, I'm watching film. So most definitely, I think that this guy, I think it's the right fit for the Raiders.
And the only way he comes back, because he's had attractive offers before, is if he feels like it's a good chance to succeed, and that's why he's coming back. He's got the quarterback, he's got the backing there. I think, alluding to your point about how much, because we've all heard him complain about the bubble screens and all the changes in the game, I think that'll be the most fascinating thing, is will he implement those changes, which are run all across the NFL, while he's coaching this franchise and coaching Derek Carr, which I think he will and do it successfully.
I don't think there's any question. No. He likes to complain, he likes it, but he knows how the league operates. Yeah. He talks to all these coaches.
No doubt about it. Welcome back. Eric Dickerson and Mark Schlereth are back. Let's move on to Tom Brady, who, according to Vegas, is the favorite to win MVP after putting up the best season ever by a 40-year-old QB. But Todd Gurley is right on his heels, leading the NFL in touchdowns and piling up some huge games toward the end of the season. Colin, is it crazy to think that Gurley has a chance to win MVP over Tom Brady?
No, he's a good story. The media likes stories. People are kind of Brady, there's a Brady fatigue going on. It's like LeBron. Like Michael Jordan was losing MVP to Karl Malone, and LeBron lost one to Derrick Rose. There is a sense I think the media is always looking for another story, and I think players and coaches are. We respect LeBron. We really know Brady's the GOAT. But Gurley's fun. The Rams are fun. McVay's fun. The story's interesting. And I will say this, that the running game was put on the shelf for about a decade. For about a decade, you were criticized if you drafted a running back first round. I think there's a movement in football that people are like, we like running backs. And football's great with running backs. So I do sense a little bit of momentum with Gurley. I still say, in an era with no huddles, a quarterback gets 68 snaps. He's just too important not to be the MVP.
It's a great story. He's had a phenomenal year. He's absolutely deserves into the conversation. but I think you're sucking up to the Hall of Fame running back we have on the set here, because let's be honest, what is the most important position, not only in the NFL, but in all of sports?
Quarterback.
Left guard.
It's the,
Left guard.
It is the quarterback. And Tom Brady, what he's doing, at not only just take away his age. I know with the read we said, oh, it's at a 40-year-old quarterback. Take his season, what he's done this year to a Patriots team which doesn't look anywhere near how it's looked in years past. The defense has been atrocious. He's been getting hit more than he has in the past 5 years.
Doesn't have Edelman.
Exactly. He does it with different players every single time.
Yeah.
Leading the league in yardage at this point in his age, it's a no-brainer that it's going to Tom Brady.
Stop saying the age thing. See that?
Right.
That's it right there. Hey, look, a 40-year-old quarterback, 40 years doesn't mean anything to a quarterback. It's that arm. Guys that are 40 and 50 and 60 years old can still throw a football. You can still throw a football. It's nothing about that. When I look at Todd Gurley, him playing with the Rams is like, if you take him away, this team is what they were last year. They're 4-12. They're maybe 5.
Oh, come on.
Come on. They may be. All right, we'll give them 2 more wins. We'll give them 2 more wins. No more than that without Todd. Without Todd. If you took Tom Brady away from the Patriots, I still think they would still make the playoffs. They wouldn't be the Patriots that we know right now, but they would still make the playoffs. You take Todd Gurley away, I
totally disagree. Sean McVay is the MVP to me. Like, I saw Gurley last year. How great was Gurley last year? He didn't do anything.
When you have that's another thing.
He was pretty good
Now I
last
get
year.
defensive about that.
He was pretty good last year.
Yeah, what was Gurley last year?
When you don't have an offensive line, when the guys are getting in the backfield, you getting the ball, they meeting you there. You know, Mark, you don't have a chance. You have no chance of running the football. I was the same victim of that in Indianapolis. They get in the backfield, getting hit, and like, well, you're not running the football. Where's it to run to? Even my quarterback, Jeff Joy, said, you know what? We're not running this ball. We're going to throw this ball. We can't run. We know. We're out there. Hey, I'm not talking about the battle. I'm in the battle.
Yeah, I'm talking. Well, then it's Andrew Whitworth, and I'm okay with that. Well,
I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Now, I mean, obviously, you look at the quarterback position. You look how important the quarterback position is. You look what he's been able to do. Brian Hoyer is not winning 13 games for the New England Patriots. I'm sorry.
No.
And I'm sure he's a great guy. But Tom Brady is that important. Todd Gurley's been unbelievable. One of the things that is interesting to me, when I think of the New England Patriots, and maybe just because I have this man crush on Tom Brady, that could be but when I think about the New England Patriots, I think about Tom Brady. I mean, I just think about the brilliance that he has had over the course of a career. I think about how long he's done it. I think about the multiple different receivers. When you think about them in general, you don't think about having, other than the year they had Randy Moss or 2 years they had Randy Moss, you don't think about him having that elite top-level receiver. I just think about him, the way he spreads it around, the way he uses multiple receivers, the way it doesn't matter who they give him. They seem to be able to always, every year, year in and year out, the last 6 years with Josh McDaniels being the offensive coordinator, they've been the #1 scoring team in football. I mean, I think about Tom Brady. And then I think about Bill Belichick. When I think about the Rams right now, I think about Sean McVay. I think about how they've changed their offensive line. I think about Todd Gurley, but I also think about Aaron Donald because I think he might be the best football player in the National Football League. And you think the best special teams in the league. I just think about all those things in totality. So if I'm a voter, and I'm not, but if I'm a voter, like I am just naturally swayed to go, oh, Tom Brady, what an unbelievable
story. By the way,
story
when quarterbacks go to the sideline,
always win it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always.
Well, yeah, but by the way, that they should.
They should not. Why? Just because they're quarterbacks?
No, because it is. When you talk about taking, look
no,
how many.
That's like because he's a quarterback.
Look how many teams. talking about taking.
So forget everybody else.
No.
We let the quarterback in the center line.
It's the most valuable. Look how many teams.
You were the most valuable player when you went over 2,000 yards. Were you not?
No.
You weren't.
Well, that's a travesty.
No, Marino.
But the point is this.
Are you kidding me?
Marino.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
See, now I'm mad. Right? Like if you get 2,000 yards, I'll give it to you right there. Like TD went over 2,000 yards. He got it.
It's easier to replace a drummer than a lead singer.
Yes.
Nobody's saying Eddie Van Halen and Tommy Lee aren't great. But if you lose Bono, you lose you too. It's a different band. And I mean, so again, when Tom Brady goes to the sideline, he either puts on a headset or goes sit with a coach. He's literally having to play when he's not playing. Running back can go over and get some Gatorade, talk to the other running backs. Quarterback has to put the headset on. He's got to get the board. He gets the laptop. They never stop playing.
How many times you played running back?
Listen, I was quarterback.
Just a question.
Welcome back now, joined by Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard, the founder of the big lead, Jason McIntyre, who got yelled at by Charlie Weiss yesterday.
It happens.
Deservedly so.
For the Lakers, who got obliterated by the Thunder last night, sort of quit. LA's now lost 8 in a row, all 6 without Lonzo Ball. He went down with a sprained shoulder, not surprisingly. Lonzo's fellow rookie teammate, Kyle Kuzma, wasn't happy after getting beat by 37.
Flat out gave out. We gave up. You can see, they got basket after basket. We had no resistance on them on the defensive end, and on the offensive end, when things got tough, we try to do it individually, and we can't do that in this league. We just, went to being, selfish on the floor. We didn't compete on defense, and they killed us, flat out. Losing by 40, there's no in between. So.
Yeah, while Lonzo has taken a lot of heat this year on this show, the Lakers have actually suffered when he's been out, losing all 11 games and struggling on defense. Danny, is Lonzo Ball actually underrated?
Oh my goodness. I can't believe we're actually having this conversation that I'm about to get ganged up on too. I have this feeling with the player that's had more hype than anybody we've seen in the last decade, in large part because of his dad. It's impossible that you could actually be anything but that. He's absolutely overrated because of the hype, the standard that's been set for him. But let's just even set the bar a little bit lower and just say, all right, how is he stacking up out there? He's not even the most important player on his own team. That would be Kuzma. And it's not just because Kuzma's the leading scorer, because he's more a demonstrative leader, he's better on defense. It's because he's got the leadership skills. Have you ever seen Lonzo call out his teammates the way Kuzma just did? No. Isn't he supposed to be this effervescent, changing player, culture-changing player? When was the last time he did anything except walk away from his players while they're scrapping and he's going the other way, showing like he could care less? You have a player who can't play defense and can't shoot. That, to me, is some pretty significant issues for a player that we're supposed to be hyping up as the next Magic Johnson. Okay. That is insanity to me.
He was a football and baseball star. Here's the thing about...
He walks away from his teammates.
Let me just say this.
Get their back.
He didn't want to get a T.
One of the things I've always loved about LeBron is it's not about scoring. And most basketball fans just glom onto scoring. Magic wasn't much of a scorer for many years. But scoring in basketball is the ultimate, at the gym, I got game. Mm-hmm. Lonzo's game is he'll never be a 22-point-a-game guy. He's not a fantastic athlete. He does the little things so well. His vision, his length, he's a good teammate. Look at Kuzma's numbers since Lonzo has left. Now, Kuzma's a better athlete. Mm-hmm. He is not the same player because he's not getting the same shots. Kuzma said after the game, he goes, we're now selfish. Yep. I said this when Lonzo came into the league.
It's great to see his field goal percentage is so far down without Lonzo. He's still shooting a better percentage than Lonzo does on the season. It's so atrocious without Lonzo.
No, but Lonzo is going to elevate everybody. We've never thought, when Magic came into this league, we'd never seen a Magic because he wasn't about 29 a game. There were times he scored 9. I just think we don't get what Lonzo brings. And if you've played basketball at the Y or big boy basketball, a guy that's talented that includes you, it rarely happens. Yeah. Lonzo, I sat next to Steve Alford's agent at a UCLA game. He said, Alford said, Lonzo's the only great player that never looked at a stat sheet in his whole career. He's like, you give it to him, you just put it down. He doesn't care about stats. That is so unique.
Lonzo is the culture changer. I mean, you see it right now. When Lonzo was playing, they were making the extra pass. Kuzma was getting easier looks. Now, like he said, they're selfish. They're not making the extra pass. And defensively, he's not going to lock a guy down individually, but he's long for a point guard. He's got a little bit of athleticism, certainly has some intuition where he can, get in passing lanes and make steals. He is the most important player on this team. You need Kuzma. You need a 20-point scorer. Kuzma may become 23, 24 points a game one year. But just like Jason Kidd, Lonzo is the guy that changes the culture and will have more of an impact on winning. Kidd in his whole career only averaged 16 or more points 3 times.
Wow.
His first year in New Jersey, his numbers went down. It was like 14 points, not quite 10 assists, 39% shooting. but he finished second in the MVP award to Tim Duncan because he affected winning. That's what Lonzo.
I'll give you props for using effervescent. That was excellent earlier. But again, I'm going to say criminally underrated for Lonzo Ball. Again, people love to focus for some reason on what players cannot do instead of what they can do. What cannot Lonzo do? Well, we know he can't shoot. You guys established that earlier. But what can he do? And Danny, the answer is literally everything else. As you said, reading the passing lanes, second among point guards and blocks behind John Wall.
He's
a leader.
He's going to gloss over that phase of the game.
By the
He's
way,
not a terrible defensive
he's
player.
a great rebounder.
Yeah.
He doesn't
And
turn
he's
the ball
20.
over.
We're talking about a 20-year-old, Danny. We're killing a guy who's been in the league for 2 months.
The other thing, Kanell, before we go, he plays better in big games. Lonzo's been great in big games.
I don't know. Kuzma was
Ask the
one who had-
Warriors. Go ask the Warriors.
Kuzma's the one in the loss. Kuzma's the one who had 38 when they beat the Rockets. Let's move to Boston, where Kyrie Irving and the Celtics dominated LeBron and the Cavs last night, which had LeBron admitting he might actually have some serious competition in the East this year.
Oh, God.
I'm always concerned about teams getting better and better, but I'm more concerned about us getting better and better. That's the bigger thing. So, it's Washington and obviously this team right here. Miami's trying to get better and better. Toronto is playing exceptional basketball right now. The East is, pretty dang good this year. And right now it's not so good, great, not so good. See what happens next. But you always got to be concerned with the competition, for sure.
All right, Colin, should LeBron be concerned about the Celtics after that loss last night?
That's like a PR statement.
It was.
He didn't believe a word of that. Do you think he believed it?
No. I wish we had a meter on him to see what the truth was, because he's not concerned at all about him, although I think he should be.
Oh, stop.
Yes, Danny, finally.
Yes.
Danny.
Yes,
God.
he should be. We love all these aspects. We love that Kevin Love is playing center and he's playing better. Although Kevin Love, in the big moments in his career, wherever it's been, whether it's in the playoffs where his numbers have deteriorated greatly, or where it got so bad where he was such a mental basket case, where Ty Lue said he was afraid to play him in Toronto because he didn't want the pressure to get to him. Are you kidding me? And this isn't a rookie that we're talking about. His numbers drop off dramatically in the big moments. And last night wasn't the biggest moment, but he was atrocious. Even before he turned his ankle, he disappears in the biggest stages. And this has nothing to do with the IT experiment, which is still, I know it was a great debut when everybody loved the 19 minutes and the 17 points. We still don't know how that's going to work out as far as chemistry between who gets the ball in the most important moments of the game.
You worried about it?
No. I'm no more worried about what happened last night, than I was worried when they lost to Sacramento a few games ago. I mean, really. Look, they'll respect the competition. You respect every team. It is the NBA. But they don't worry about Boston like they worry about Golden State or Houston or Oklahoma City or San Antonio or whoever would come out of the West. I mean, Boston is no threat. You have a 19-year-old rookie and a 20-year-old second-year player starting for the first time as two of your four best players. You're not beating LeBron James, but your best player is great, Kyrie, but he's nowhere near as good as LeBron, and LeBron's got a better supporting cast. Come on.
This is my favorite thing about LeBron and the Cavs. So LeBron and the Cavs win a big game in the regular season. Oh, they're going to roll through the East. They lose in a big spot like last night, and it's like, well, it's the regular season. Who cares? No big deal. There's always excuses for LeBron.
When they were 5-7, we were saying they're going to roll through the East. I mean,
whether
it
it's a
wasn't
win
about
or
regular season
listen,
games.
no Kyrie Irving. It's a toss-up in the East, Cavs or Celtics.
Right side of this desk is very
You're the only
basketball savvy.